Hello, Sean. Hey, I wanted to show you your Turbo Cube dimension system. And I am going to go ahead and set you up here with the Non ADB keyboard and mouse. And I think you'll like the story here. So we were originally going to go with the ADB, and it kind of stretches these images out for whatever reason. And by chance, a couple weeks ago, I had a walk-in customer, and at NeXT, her name was Anne Sawyer, and she's lives here in Fort Collins now, and her name is Anne Million. And let me tell you, she's one in a million. Really nice. Her husband worked for Wiltel on NeXT equipment as well, and it'll be fun having them over to talk shop here one afternoon. But she had some NeXT equipment, and so I am going to go ahead. I told her I would find a good home for stuff, and rather than the ADB where it's stretching, I think this keyboard and mouse is destined to go your way for several reasons. I know you're doing Sybase and Oracle stuff. Well, she was at Oracle before going to NeXT and worked on NeXT's encryption, okay? Specifically Sybase and Oracle encryption. So it's a way of things kind of working out, as I say, in this multiverse or whatever we call it. And it's interesting because this keyboard has no serial number. And it's probably because she was working on the Secret Squirrel stuff for NeXT for many years. Interesting, though. And I thought, well, rather than send you an ADB keyboard, which I think was new old stock, but don't worry, that's just a plastic part. This is, I think it is Swedish. So, rather than send you this one where the keycaps are different as well, I'll find a customer that can use that, and on, without the flat panels, it doesn't stretch it. So I'm not sure what the deal is there with the driver and the way that it's configured in NeXT as to why it stretches it. Maybe somebody out there could help answer that question. But on non-ADB, the monitors work fine. And I think it's either a 5x4 or 4x3. And these Dell 19 and 20-inch flat panels are great. And they have the built-in soundbar, which makes it useful. Sean also has that nice, fully refurbished new capacitors sound box. So this is going to be a really neat system. So you can see here how I just slid this out, but all you have to do is just kind of tuck it in and slide it back in that way, and it'll sit in there nice and firm. You've got your 2 gig quantum fireball if you want to go that route. That has 3.3 on it as well. And what I did with the SD card that is in there, I just did the 2 partitions. So it's basically, instead of having six partitions, it just has the 2. And I'm going to include one that has the, with all the apps as well. So you can tinker with it, so you'll have a couple extra SD cards as well. I'm excited to hear about this project. And I asked Anne if she might be able to offer some advice on it. She's like, well, I'd be a little rusty, but if you have specific questions, I might have some answers or some documentation, for configuring Sybase and stuff like that. And I thought you would be okay with this change because these have the nice clicky feel, Alps key switches. And, the ADB, I've never really used them that much on NeXT. And because I have this keyboard in, I think it's going to the right place. The universe is speaking to me, and thank you so much for your business and patience. So as you can see, there's not as much stuff up here, but it's going to run a little bit faster for you. And let's see if we've got what we've got in local apps here. I'm just looking to see if we've got all our packages that you'll need. Okay. If not, they'll be on the other SD cards as well. And I want to go to next. I believe it's going to be developer. We can try developer demos. I'm going to throw demos up on the shelf as well. So you'll have that. Go on. Okay. Next apps. NeXT Admin. Looks like all of our apps are there. Let's try our local apps and see if we've got it here. Okay, and what I've got here too is I've got a 3.0 CD I'm sending you, and it's still shrink wrapped. But I know for sure the Sybase stuff should be on here as well. Sony, Sybase, and Oracle software should be available on this CD if it's not already installed. But I thought I'd go ahead and include that for you as well to kind of make sure you have all the software you need. And keep me in the loop once you get it up and running. And let's make sure all of the keys work on this keyboard real quick. They should. I'm just launching a note here. Apologies, winging it as usual. Let me set up our dimension screen while I'm at it on this. So on the SD cards, you're always going to want to go to the calendar. And let's see, while that's launching, I'm just going to type in here. Okay, that all looks good. Yep. Yeah, this keyboard seems pretty nice. Okay, so all the keys are working. Control X and then alternate C. That's good. Let's try the accountant's keypad. Yep, that all works. Okay. Okay. Good. So it looks like everything is working on this keyboard. Mouse works great. We're not going to save that. And we're going to want to go set our time. So this is, if you launch the, you double click the calendar icon in the upper right corner, that brings up this.
Someone was detected at your front door.
Okay, and then we're going to go to here. Okay, great. And to set the dimension up, you go to this double screen icon. We're going to find megapixel, click that to on. We're going to click locate. No. and then set. And now when we hide it, log out, and then we're going to power off and reboot. Hey, Dom, were you able to find find the stuff? I'm just making a little video here. Okay, so we got power off and turn it off. And I'll make sure that it powers back up, and we've got our dimension board synced. And then we should be good to go. And I'll show you how I just set this card back up in there. And with this new tray, it makes it so that it just fits right in there nicely. So you can kind of see that it sits right back in there. And then when we power it back up, this will be the final test. And just be patient when it's booting. And I've got it set to where it verbose boots, which means it's booting into text. So you can actually see what's going on in the background. Yep, everything's working great. Okay. They're not real speed demons, obviously, but, you know, for 1990, it's not too bad. Okay, you'll see it loading all the two partitions. So instead of 4, it's just 2. And then we should see the dimension board kick on here in just a second. That flicker's not actually there. It's just, I think the difference in resolution and refresh of the camera. But if I wave my hand in just the right way. I think I timed it. It takes about 2.5 minutes to boot. But it's pretty complicated for the day. So we're loading both, a dual screen. So you've got black and white and color. And
someone was detected at your front door.
That's the ring alarm for you. I could actually hook that up through the NeXT, I think. I may try that just for fun. So what it's doing here is it's going through, it's found our floppy, our 2 partitions, the DVD CD-ROM, Ethernet, DSP, so it's going through and loading all the drivers, sound driver. If you have a network, it'll load it there. So it says it's not connected. Before you network it, you always want to set the root password. That's in the same area that we just set the dimension board. You just double click that calendar icon and reboot complete. It should bring up our dimension board here. slot 2, 64 megs of RAM, and that's why we're getting color on this screen. And then with, if I'd done everything correctly, it should come up with a little grid over here showing we have dual monitors. Yep. Let's see here. In a perfect world. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, you can kind of see the texture there if I can get this flicker off the screen. But it'll look like a little grid of squares. And we'll test it real quick. Make sure I can drag the screen from one monitor to the other. This was really advanced. I think NeXT was the first company capable of doing this, especially having it change from black and white to color too was pretty amazing for the day. It took a lot for them to bring color to Next Step. And Michel Paquette is one of my customers, and he wrote most of the drivers and Next Dimension software for NeXT. Okay, so once that panel comes up, we'll test drag and drop, and then that should be good to go. And then once it's booted up, it seems to, you know, the performance gets to be a little bit better. Okay, there's the file viewer. We're going to drag it, make sure it comes over here. Yep, it does. So we can bring it back over here. Great. Okay, Sean, hey, appreciate your business and patience. I just wanted to make sure that everything was working on this new master with just 2 partitions. And I'm going to send these other ones out that are full builds with, you know, all of the software. Okay, have a good day.